My son just told me he doesn't trust me to watch his kids and I'm heartbroken. Me 57M, and my son, 37M. Richard relationship used to be great until I divorced his mother when he was 6. She was a very bitter and cold person and she got main custody and I had only 2 weekends a month and split holidays. His mother made really hard for me to see him and I could barely spend time with him outside of court dates or she'll bring us back to court and get me in more trouble. I'll be honest, after I remarried my now wife, 56F, and had my other sons, 30M and 28M, I stopped trying hard with my son and neglected him in the process. Things came to a head when he was 14 and his uncle, Ray, ex-wife brother, called me from the hospital revealing my son's stepdad had been molesting him and saw him for 2 years. Ray had physically beat the stepdad near death after he walked in on him trying to force himself on Richard. I made it to the hospital and my heart nearly sank seeing the nurses and doctors using a kid as well as Richard crying his heart out to Ray and holding on him for dear life. I tried hugging and talking to him, but he just ignored me and wouldn't talk to me till Ray told him he could. I stayed in the hospital for about a week with him since Ray was taken in by the cops and doctors wanted to keep Richard under monitoring just to make sure no sexual diseases came up. For that week, the only thing Richard did was blaming me for the SA and calling me horrible dad for not protecting him. I tried apologizing and cried my heart out saying how sorry I was for not protecting him, but he just shut me out. We got things with the court started and his stepdad was convicted. My ex-wife knew it was happening and there was evidence and she got some time in prison, so naturally I got granted his custody. I tried putting him through therapy, but he shut that down. He stayed in his room and just ignored me, my wife, and his siblings. For 4 years, he left when he was 18. He just ignored me. He would eat what I bought. He would wear any of the clothes I bought him, nor use anything I bought for him. I really tried with him, but he just gave up on me and didn't love me anymore. When he was 18, he left and went to live with Ray and basically cut me and his brothers off. Ray tried maintaining our relationship, but Richard asked him to stop since he didn't want a bastard, me, in his life. Now it's been years and he still doesn't act like my son. Sure, our relationship had gotten civil now, but he still keeps me at arm's length. He didn't put me in the wedding party for his wedding to his wife. Michelle didn't let me choose a suit for him for his wedding, but he let Ray go with him. He didn't even meet any of my grandkids till they were 1 year old, but he let Ray meet them 2 days after the birth. He even named one of his daughters after Ray, Rayanne. He treats Ray as the kid's grandfather and me some second-class grandpa. I don't see the kids as much as they live in a different state and Ray lives with them in their in-law suite. They own a huge farm. And so Ray basically gets to grow with my son and my grandkids while I have to wait till at least Christmas. It's fucking unfair. Anyways, things came to a head last week. I hosted all the family for a dinner party and my son and his family arrived since he was in town. During this, I asked my son, since they were staying in Texas for the week, if the kids could sleep over at our place tonight so he and Michelle could have some alone time. Richard shut it down quickly saying no, they booked a nice hotel for a reason and the kids, 14M, 12F, and 10M, could enjoy their stay there. I asked him again saying I wanted to spend with my grandkids, but she shut it down. My wife told me to drop it since we were eating, and I did so. After dinner, I pulled him aside and asked him again if the kids could stay over again. He said no, and pushed for an answer why they couldn't stay with me for a few days, but Ray could have them for a year. I broke down yelling at him why he was doing this to me, and Richard calmly said that he simply didn't trust me to protect the kids if something were to happen. I froze and asked him why would he think that, and why he would think I wouldn't protect them, and he said why should he believe I'll protect the people that matter to him in the world when I didn't even protect him. I tried saying something, but he cut me off saying if I kept pushing it I would never see the kids again, and he left okay after making some excuses for his wife. I don't know what to do. He basically called me a failure. What should I do? How do I move on from this?